perfect still day today. I need to get spraying, but we're just having another mess around with the chipper now. It's still acting up, and the fault code, we've got it down to be in one of these modules here, but we don't know where else it goes after that, and we can't really find anything wrong. And I'm waiting for Comtech to ring me back to tell me the rest of the fault code so that we can know which other end of the wire to look. But we think it's V1, which goes from there to about here. So we're going to probably clean these plugs and see what's going on, see if that makes a difference. But it seems to be when it gets like a big log and it has a big vibration, it just shuts down and must temporarily lose signal. Just topping up with AdBlue now. This has gone absolutely mental for price as well as fertiliser, because it's made of fertiliser. Jumped off the sprayer just to have a quick look at the wheat. So if you look, it's got some bits that are sticking up a little bit higher. So you can see one there and one here. So that is wild oats. So we'll hopefully be able to kill them off. But we'll probably wait for them to roll up and kill them in the spring. But you can see there's quite a bad patch here. You can tell that they're wild and we've not sown them because 1, they look a bit different, 2, they're not in the rows, and 3, they're growing in where the tram line is. Yeah, otherwise it looks pretty good this week. I'll just put my hood up so we don't hear the wind. But we've got so many birthdays today. 3 of the people below are 50. Not Gareth though, Gareth's not 50. Gareth's kind of your cousin, but we're not related. But you know, you've got an auntie and uncle at actually your auntie and uncle like everyone else. Anyway, we've got Keith McKenna, Jennifer Matthews, Mark Staylad, Richard Hughes, Dan Gillett, Luke, Amy Luke, Sam Tyson, Emma Eddy, Gerard High, and then Karina, it's your birthday, but also, will you marry Alex? So tune in tomorrow and see whether she said yes. Yeah, so that's quite incredible really. There's 11 birthdays today and 3 of them are 50. So considering I think we only had 1 yesterday, or I might have actually missed 1 yesterday, and it's on the bumper today. And then also a marriage proposal. Well, I've never done that before. Well, not for someone else's behalf anyway. So tune in tomorrow and we'll see what the result is. Also, the 4494 is now loaded on Richard Campy's wagon and Campy Turf Kurt, and it's heading this way. Now he's going to run out of driving hours tonight, so it's going to arrive tomorrow. Anyway, I'm in Yorkshire tonight doing a talk for NFU AGM. So he's going to deliver about 1 o'clock tomorrow. So all being well, we'll do a live video of it arriving so you can all have a look at it as soon as I see it, because I actually haven't seen it yet. I've only seen the photographs from the auction. So that should be good, and then we'll have a good mooch around it in tomorrow's video for tomorrow night as well. So if you're about tomorrow around 1 o'clock, keep your eyes peeled for maybe a live video. Should have said, so I'm putting manganese on this wheat, which is a trace element that'll make it grow a little bit better. It's still got a lovely colour, but it'll get wetter over winter and I won't be able to travel without making a mess. So by putting it on now, it means it's there ready for the plant, and it'll get it through to hopefully February, March, when we can get some fertiliser on, get it growing. Yeah, another thing, we weighed parboiled young farmers the other night, so here's what they weigh on the weigh bridge. I forgot to put it on yesterday's video. Right, so that's 3.2 tonne of parboiled young farmers. You going to say hello? So yesterday we went to a meeting about carbon capture, carbon sequestration, and basically improving carbon capture on the farm. Top takeaway tips were, before I go any further actually, urea fertiliser is better for the environment. It has less of a carbon footprint at manufacturing, and if used correctly can also give off less carbon as well than ammonium nitrate. So why the government want to ban it, I do not know, because it's a better product from the start. Before it's even arrived on farm, it's better for the environment. So that's one thing. The other thing is how much carbon is released from ploughing, which is that lovely smell you get when you plough. After 20 years though, if you're chopping your straw, you can reach a saturation point apparently where you can't capture any more carbon from incorporating your straw. But the agronomist was there, and he's a soil scientist, and he disagrees, and he's quite correct that you can capture more carbon in your soils because you can build your soils and grow them. So if you're chopping straw and you're using cover crops and you've got the right microbacterial activity, then you actually increase the depth of your topsoils as well. So if you were just physically going to chop your straw every year for 20 years and plough it underneath, after 20 years you wouldn't be any better off. But if you adopt different systems at the same time, you will be better off. Sorry, I'm just checking the GPS on my line. I'm just turning at the end of the field. So that was interesting. Carbon sort of like audits, there's no specific standard yet. It's something that maybe AHTB should be doing, because they are in response. They take a fee off every farmer in the country, so maybe they should own it. The other thing is don't sell your carbon yet, because what you might find is that you need it yourself and might have to end up buying it back. So it's just kind of like, until there's a proper platform for trading it and a proper approved industry standard for carbon auditing, it's best to just sort of sit tight and wait, and also change your farming systems to capture more carbon anyway, and then you're in a better place for when you could possibly sell it. So that was that. Succession planning meeting last night. It was, to be fair, there's an interesting account up there, but everything else was sort of that we've already done, and it's just making sure that you've got a will, you've got a partnership agreement, because if something happens to one of the partners, the bank accounts can get frozen if there's not an agreement. And you know, at any age you should have a will, otherwise it makes things complicated. And then also as well, a power of attorney. So it's not something just for people when they're old. If you know, had an accident, bang your head, and you couldn't make decisions or whatever and stuff like that, you know, everything could stop around you. Whereas if someone's got power of attorney, that you trust that they can carry on with that. And then the other thing is as well is setting up trusts with trustees for, you know, different bits of land and stuff. And then one interesting thing that came out as well is some of the elm stuff. So like, if you're going to put your fields down to wildflowers and you know, get a subsidy for that for the next 5 years, it might take it out of agricultural. Well, it sounds like it will. And then that then means that you can't get agricultural property relief on it if you were to die, which is quite scary really, that some people are thinking, oh well, you know, get to the end of my days farming, I'll put it in one of these wildlife schemes, I don't need to renew any machinery, and off I go. But then they might find then that when they try and anything happens to them or they die, the kids then basically will have to have a huge tax bill. So that's one thing to check up on if you're thinking of doing something like that. Anyway, sorry if that sounds like a bit of a lecture. I'm not the expert. The experts were there yesterday. They were just the things that I remembered that I thought, that's interesting. There's actually 12 birthdays today now, because there's a late entry just come through on Instagram for Julie Carroll. Don't forget, if you're going to send them, try and send them if you can on the morning of the birthday. Not too late that it's missed me filming, but then also not really the day before, because then it can get confused and missed because it just gets lost in the abyss. So there's the tip for you. Agri Contract on Instagram, and also as well Agri Contract on TikTok. I don't really know what I'm doing on TikTok, but there's a few videos on there, so check that out as well. Again, I just jumped off the spray. I'm spraying this field now. This is after oilseed rape, where the slugs were having a bit of a field day and we'd had trouble with the seed not buried properly. So if you look, you can see new little green rows coming up now. This is where we patched it up the other month. It's still a bit of slug pressure there. Now if we go over this way, again you can see some little green rows here. It's still quite poor, to be honest, but it come quite wet after we patched it up. But you can see it just about in the rows, maybe there-ish. But it no doubt about it, it's going to be quite a poor crop. Anyway, then if we get here, this is where we realised there was a problem with the drill and reset it up. So that is the crop there then. So it just shows you how important it is to make sure that you've got the correct pressure on a drill, and also having the right drill that can apply the right pressure. Otherwise you could end up with something a little bit like this. Anyway, it's only this corner and the headlands that are a bit poor, but it's amazing really. So we used to have a more drill which was okay, but it couldn't put the pressure on that the John Deere or the Avatar could, and you'd have probably ended up with something halfway between the two maybe in a dry year. So let's just go here and we'll see better. So there's a row with the right pressure. Zoom back out a bit so you see better. There's a row there with the right pressure. There's a row with the wrong pressure, just a bit sparse. And then there's the little green rows that we've just stitched in, just disappearing off up there. Anyway, in the spring it should look a lot different, but there has been some slug grazing on this bit, and we've probably still got a little bit of time maybe to patch this again. I know it's not ideal sort of drilling it nearly 3 times, but with the price of fertiliser now, we get a bit of seed out the pile, you know, 100 quid's worth of wheat on here. At least then if we're spreading fertiliser, we've got something that's eating it, rather than spreading it onto bare ground, because it's like growing here but then not there where there's a slug. The slugs have been between the rows, so probably makes sense. I'm not sure if it was on here the other day or I was just telling the lads in the brew room, but the problem with having a big tank on the sprayer is you get really hungry, really thirsty when you're out spraying. Because rather than being back at the yard every sort of like hour and a half to fill up, you're out for like 3 hours at a time, if not longer, because you can stay out and do further blocks away. So it's now dinner time and I'm starving and thirsty. So that is the big down side of the BATEMAN. It should come with a kitchen or like a snack cupboard. If you look there, you can see where the liner sort of trashes out the combine. The chaff, well, the disc is cut through, sown the seed, and it's had a little bit of slug pressure, but it's all good enough to be a crop, whereas where it wasn't bearing it properly, it isn't at all. Just back in the shed, it's quite dark, and that is pretty damn close. In fact, no, it's touching. Don't. I don't know what's done that, but it looks quite deep. It's got a little dent in the rim. Sam's tidying up the yard so we can put all the trailers in one place because they're all scattered everywhere. He's just stacking in spare tyres, some turf tyres if you know anyone who wants any. Valtra fitment. Andrew's had his bonnet and diesel tank back from the proper paint shop because it's a different paint that John Deere used, so he's got it done with proper John Deere paint. They've sprayed it for him and it looks immaculate, so I think he's going to put that on tomorrow or tonight. If you've got a digger, I'd highly recommend buying one of them grabs just for stacking tyres. It just makes it so easy. Call them autumn colours as well. Like the old saying, where there's livestock, there's dead stock. Fortunately, Philip's died today. Don't know why, bit of a mystery. All the others over there seem fine. He was under one of them trailers the other day for a few days, perfectly happy. We had to sort of like say, come on, come out, and he came out from underneath him. Walking around fine yesterday. He was lay there last night, now he's there, but yeah, unfortunate. But he was a little bit of a pain. He was probably the least liked out the flock because he's the one that used to charge with everyone. FYI, I'm knocking off in daylight because I'm now travelling to Yorkshire, so normally it's dark when I'm doing this bit, but it's not tonight. That's all for me today. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow, like I say, we'll try and do a live video around 1 o'clock when the 4494 is arriving. So the wagon driver's going to ring me when he's on his way. So we'll try and go live as it's coming in. We'll have a proper mooch at it. So how are you today? Leave it as a percent and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh yeah, one last thing before I forget. Chris, my friend, made me a brilliant logo. So this is it for the outro. So thanks, Chris.